Welcome aboard and welcome to Al Bilad, Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you for having me.
What was the vision behind Brave since the date that Brave started?
I think for us in Bahrain, everybody that is associated with KHK Sports, the vision of His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa was very clear for us regarding mixed martial art, how we wanted to reform the sport of mixed martial art as a whole. We had three different categories of development of the sport, one for Bahrain, one for the region, and one for international level. And for Bahrain, it was more about where do we position our country at a global scale for in the mixed martial art industry worldwide, where our athletes are going to be, and how do we create an ecosystem for the young talents or the children with a dream of becoming an MMA fighter. How do we create a platform for them to be able to reach at that highest level of competition and be proud of bringing medals for the Kingdom of Bahrain. And at the same time, His Highness was also very clear about how we want to develop the sport in general across the whole Middle East and increase the popularity of mixed martial art in the region. And internationally, it was a picture of how we can develop the sport from an event business to a sports business, where the sport has grown massively. It is one of the most global sport in the world today. But at the same time, because it is still a very young sport, it grew so fast, there's still a lot of gaps and holes within the industry that you need to fix. And fixing those gaps was the key factor at a global level, and that is a big responsibility. And I think the whole global MMA community really thanks His Highness Sheikh Khalid over the past 10 years for what his vision was, and what the actual result that came out was phenomenal.
Yeah. By speaking of the international stage of MMA across the world, what do you think the role that Brave plays in representing the Kingdom of Bahrain at that stage?
I think Brave's position today at an international global level for representing the Kingdom of Bahrain is can be looked at in multiple ways. The first and foremost and the easiest way to look at it is in terms of how much exposure the Kingdom of Bahrain is today getting through Brave Combat Federation. We are broadcasted in 160 plus countries worldwide in 25 different languages across some of the biggest broadcasting networks in the world, whether you're looking at Star Times in the African continent, or DAZN, which is today one of the largest combat sports OTT platform, or one of the largest OTT platform in the world, JioStar from India, that has over 800 million subscribers. So we're across multiple television networks and OTT platforms around the world that is promoting Bahrain and promoting Brave Combat Federation. But at the same time, if you look at the digital world, which is the future of media as well, we're looking at Brave producing content that is reaching multi-millions. If you look at last couple of events we have produced, each one of the videos have also reached up to 30 millions just on Instagram alone. But all of this exposure that we are looking at from a media perspective is our major priority, is to showcase the value of the Kingdom of Bahrain when it comes to sports development. And Brave is a big example, and for us it's more of not what we are doing for the Kingdom of Bahrain, it's more of proud to be the face of what Kingdom of Bahrain has been offering over decades towards sports and the youth of the country, and that's something that we're proud of. But at the same time, in terms of one area that a lot of people cannot see, because that's why I said that it's easier on the media, that when you're around the world, is the events that we host. We have hosted events in 36 countries in 5 continents, making Brave Combat Federation the most global MMA organization. And I don't think, I could be wrong, you would have more information, but if you look at sports around the world, there's only very few organizations from the Middle East as a brand of sports that has traveled and hosted events in 36 countries in 5 continents.
Very few.
If there are any, and that is a world record that we are holding. But when we do host events, it is not just hosting the event and just having competitions. It's also a proud moment for me personally as well, to stand there every single time to hear the national anthem of the Kingdom of Bahrain in 36 different countries before the start of Brave Combat Federation is a true representation of what Brave is today, or what Bahrain has done for combat sports around the world. We are so much, we know very well how to bring the big events into our country, because we are one of the best at hosting events, and we are showing that year by year. But Brave is taking it to the next level by showcasing what a brand in Bahrain can be exported to the rest rest of the world, and they would love to host our brand as well. So, and the final factor of how the impact is being created is also a lot to do with the behind the scenes of the economic impact that it brings in, the jobs that it has created for Bahrainis here. I'm not talking about competition as athletes. That's the thing that a lot of people see. But
Behind the stage.
absolutely, behind having your own brand, now we have our own Premier League, we have our own La Liga. Yeah, when you have that, the people associated with it, the skills development, the employment that it's going to be creating in Bahrain and internationally, it's massive. And we were seeing the media sector, we're seeing the employment side, athletes and development of talents. It's a complete 360 ecosystem because the center stone and the strategy is based on developing the whole sport completely. So I think it has been an interesting journey for us over the past decade, and we definitely do continue to focus on areas to showcase what Bahrain's goals are and the vision of the leadership is, especially on the digitalization side, media development side, and also more importantly, creating the right documentaries and docu-series on the film side that I think in sports filming we have been not at the highest level, but today we're seeing that growth happen, and we want to be part of that exposure as well, and to showcase that everything is possible as long as you're in Bahrain. It is a Bahraini dream for sure.
You talk about Brave that hosts over 36 countries. Hosting these events and all over the world, it has a lot of challenges beside this hosting. So what is the main challenge that you faced?
Where do we start, you know? So it's always, I mean, if when you discuss with anybody who has done created a business, doesn't have to be combat sports or sports in general, anybody who has started a business, the difficulty of exporting that brand internationally is not easy. I think the most basic foundation of challenges that a lot of people don't discuss in media or interviews might be the most simplest. Sounds simple, but it is one of the biggest problems, and that is language, that is communication. So to be able to talk to today, I must have actually had a conversation with at least 8 to 9 different countries. But then you're looking at the time zone between Southeast Asia, and then you're looking at North America and South America and Europe and Middle East.
As well.
Africa as well. So the combination of all these countries in different time zone, different languages. So each of the conversations you have for a business that should take 2 days will actually take 2 weeks in translations and communication. So that is one challenge that we've seen heavily involved in the time that it takes to close deals. So you will have to be way more aggressive. The time difference that's going to be there in making things happen. But logistic-wise, when you host event, that I think is a challenge that always adds a lot of stress as well, because logistically you are going to 36 different countries. Everybody has different policies, government policies, so licensing to visas to travels, customs, a lot of operational challenges that we face throughout our events, and it never stops. We never think that there's a final solution for it or a final playbook. So we're always facing those challenges. We've had events where we have top 2 fighters that we have spent so much on marketing, and then they don't get the visa to go to a country, you know, and at the last moment it gets cancelled. So a lot of challenges that is behind the scenes that we really see. But most of all, which I really enjoy a challenge, is the cultural differences in different countries, the cultural differences, the attitude of the individuals. And that is what I really enjoy. Although it is a challenge, a lot of people have been finding it difficult to do that. I always say that, they say that, how are you so good at making this relationship internationally, and how are you able to achieve 36 countries, that not even an organization like UFC, which is 35 years old, and we are just entering our 10th year, they didn't achieve this. How did you achieve this? And I always say that I am blessed to be from Bahrain, you know. So when I was born, I didn't have to go to an actual college to learn diplomacy. I had to learn it while I'm living around a coexistent ecosystem around me, an environment where I'm sitting with 7 different country people at the same time doing the same job and working together. And to a point, we all together invented our own languages as well, that if you go to our individual countries, we don't really know what we're saying, but combined together, that's the kind of synergy Bahrain has made for everybody. And that's why a lot of people living in Bahrain feel so pleasant and comfortable living here. But for me, I know that's true. But for me, I have seen the next level of benefit from it by living in Bahrain, because being a Bahraini, going into international world, I've never had a challenge to understand cultures. And if you look at Brave today, every country Brave goes, everybody accepts Brave Combat Federation as if it's their own event. They don't think of it as an international event coming in, because how easily we understand the culture, and we create and change the structure and the format of our event based on what their culture requires and what their audience really want. And that's why within 1 or 2 events we become so successful in those countries that we're able to get a lot of support from the government and the private sector, because they feel like it's their own.
Next country.
Oh yes, I think to say the next country, it'll be Georgia.
Georgia.
It's not announced yet, but I think my team would be going crazy. But let's do the breaking news. It's going to be Georgia, and that's going to be a new country. We will have an event in China before that, which is already announced, but a new country that we're going to travel and continue to break records. I think it's going to be Georgia, and we're very excited for that.
By talking about these events, we talk about the fighters. It's tough to find a fighter to select them across all the world. So what are the standards that behind select these fighters?
We follow a very aggressive model. One of the key USP that Brave holds is that Brave has the largest scouting program in the world, and in any MMA organization that's existing today. So if you look at the biggest superstars in mixed martial art, the icons of mixed martial art, Kamza Chimaev, Ilya Topuria, Benoit Saint-Denis, name them, Muhammad Makayev, all of them have come through the ranks of Brave Combat Federation. Including Andrew Tate. I don't know if a lot of people, the young generation will know this name. That's a little bit viral on social media and internet. Have also fought in Brave and was competing in Romania, one of our events. So a lot of people still don't know the amount of top talents that we celebrate today as icons of the sport have actually come from Brave Combat Federation. But how come Brave have a record that nobody can match? Is because we follow an aggressive model of a team that is a little crazy enough to watch a lot of hours of mixed martial art, and you have to love the sport to be watching that many hours of videos, because you're talking about almost 6,000 MMA organizations around the world. So how many fights and competitions are you able to watch? But if you have a team that really loves it, they're going to watch a lot of content. But at the same time, watching is one thing, but we do have scouts established in multiple regions around the world for South America, North America, specific countries that have a lot of talents like Brazil and Dagestan. We have a lot of team members working there. So a combination of watching a lot of hours, having a scouts around the world, but at the same time looking at a system where we have promotions, gyms, and team members, and including fighters that we have a very strong communication line with. We never lose, regardless of how big an organization becomes. We still go all the way to ask the gym coaches, how do you think the fighter is? Because managers will always say great things, and we love to talk to managers and agents, but we love to get the real let's say the soul of the fighter from the coach itself, and we go all the way to that minute micromanagement of knowing the fighter, because some of the times you might see a gold or a diamond that has never fought, and you see the record and he has no fights, and you'll be like, I don't want this athlete. But once you actually speak to his coaches and his team, you will realize that he just needs an opportunity before he could become a world superstar. And one of those examples,
by the potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those examples is Kamza Chimaev, who was a beast in his gym, but didn't have a lot of opportunities. And when we found him, we scouted the athlete through his gym, and his gym coaches and team was saying that you have to give him a chance. And I had to have a personal conversation with him as well before I realized that his mindset is a different place, and he could be one of the best in the world. And undoubtedly today, the biggest conversation in the world today that's happening when it comes to organizations like UFC is Kamza Chimaev, and thank God we were able to identify that.
Yeah. When you talk about the MMA global-wise, you talk about UFC and a lot of different organizations. Where you put Brave inside inside this race?
First of all, I always say this, that we are not competing with the UFC, nor are we competing with the MMA organizations. The vision of His Highness from the beginning was to reform the MMA industry from an event business to a sports business. Today, the MMA industry is in the event business, and we are not competing with that, because our objective and our vision is very clear that we want to create a new system for the industry itself, and that is where we want to focus on. So it's as simple as saying, for all the people who knows football really well, it is almost like saying that UFC is Manchester United, and we're trying to create a Premier League. So you cannot compare each other unless I am another club.
Yeah.
But we're not in the same business. Of course, we do events as well, but if you look at generally, we are at a different level. So in a nutshell, I always say that UFC is the highest level, and Brave Combat Federation is taking the sport to the next level. It's a very simple difference there. But focusing on that, if you look at today's differences, one of the key things is globalization. We have been very strong in terms of globalizing the brand that nobody else have been able to do it. But at the same time, we are a digital first and a fighter first organization where we give a lot of value to fighters that showcases how big our scouting program is and talents that we discover. It does not matter if you are from a Chechenian background living in Sweden and fighting in Hyderabad in India. It doesn't make any connection, but that is what it needs to for that athlete to be recognized internationally, and someone has to take that weight on their shoulder, and Brave Combat Federation does that, and it really pays off. On a digital side, we are the first organization in the region to start going to NFT. We've had our broadcasting showcase live events on Metaverse, and if you look at the technologies that we are implementing on a digital side with AI, it is at a level that we are at the same level with NBAs and other organizations of sports, not just MMA. So that is on the short term how much we are changing, but on a long term we are looking at a lot of plans that will work more on the governance side and development of the sport. And we've always been focused on development of the athletes and the sports structure first, and which is why every country that we go to, we establish a legacy there. A lot of organizations that we host and we spend a lot of money on, usually it happens around the world, we don't see what the legacy plan is. They come, they host an event, and they leave. But what do they leave behind for us in the next 10 years to benefit from? And that is the key conversation. And for us, we travel to every country. We show them the example of what MMA has developed and created in Bahrain, and we want to replicate that model in every country, which is national development of the sport, youth strategy, and most importantly, creating an economic sports structure that will help the economy of the country as well.
Yeah, we talked before about selecting the fighters, and we talk now about the finding the Arab talents. We have a lot of talents here in Bahrain, just like Hamza, Hussein, and also a lot of Arab talents. How you focus, or do you have a program just for the Arab talents?
Absolutely. I think understanding the idea of how to take a talent and give him the best value, I think that is what an organization needs to do. Unfortunately, the international MMA organizations today are focused on taking more from our region, what benefits they can get, rather than keeping what they can give to the region as the first priority. And that is where it is unfortunate that we don't see the actual results. Although we see international organizations coming to our region, we don't see the actual results for our Arab talents in the region. So you look at some of the biggest UFC events in the region, you don't really see a lot of Arab fighters fighting in that, but some of them, international organizations, come to Middle East and create a specific program for Arab fighters. But then we sit down and look and say that, hold on, we've had MMA in this region for a very long time. It is when KHK and His Highness put a face to it is when it became more popular in the region, but it was always there for a very long time, and fighters have been existing. What we want right now from an international organization is to take our talents and give them global exposure and showcase how good we are and where our position is. Not to come and create a regional competition for us, nor to bring an international event here, which is great to have for the development of the sport and the value of it, but not give opportunity to Arab talents. Brave just broke both those barriers, and we decided that what you want is not a local organization anymore. What you want is an organization that takes our Arab regional fighters and showcase who they are internationally. To bring in a fighter like Muhammad Fakhruddin and take him into Slovenia, into the heart of Ljubljana, and fight with their home fan and knock out and become a double champion, become a legend of mixed martial in the Arab world. This opportunity for him to sit there and have tears for his family and say that I wanted to showcase what my heart is and what my family gave me to the rest of the world. And I get goosebumps just talking about it, because that is exactly what we want to showcase, what Hamza Kohiji can do, what Fakhruddin has done, and we build legends out of it. As long as we are just doing it in the region, there will never be global legends. And Brave will never stop creating global opportunities for Arab talents. If you look at international organizations that come to our region, the first athletes that they target are the ones that Brave has globalized, because from their mindset it looks like these are the best athletes because they have competed internationally. But it's always going to be that you have to give them the opportunity to compete internationally. We have seen in multiple sports that we wish, whichever sports you love, you wish that our Arab talents could get a chance to be at least in the scouting of the big clubs of football or NBA or anywhere else. But who is going to take that responsibility as an organization
to take them outside?
Exactly, and that's a lot. We rely on international organizations to do it. I don't mean the governing bodies, but the private clubs to take that responsibility, but they don't have to. Their business plan is a different direction. So when you have Brave Combat Federation, which was a phenomenal vision by His Highness to say that we do create talents to compete in international competitions, but also create your own competition that the world can come and compete in, that will be much more able to help the Arab talents and Bahraini talents to go internationally. And fantastic, you see the results now of through Brave, how Arab fighters are being able to represent themselves and their countries internationally, whether it's in Africa, Europe, Southeast Asia. They're competing around the world through Brave, and that is priceless. And if they do have the talent, they could become legends like Muhammad Fakhruddin. What he has achieved is something that not many people have achieved in their life.
MMA is tough sport, and it must need a special treatment in the safety side, the medical side. So what's the procedure that Brave follow before the event, during the event, and also after the event?
I think, first of all, when people talk about mixed martial art, I think for a lot of new people who don't know what mixed martial art is, and they have only seen it on social media, you have to emphasize the fact that mixed martial art is not as dangerous as many other sports. When you compare it with NFL, football, boxing, I don't want to compare it with boxing, but a lot of other sports, mixed martial art is far less dangerous than many other sports.
But still dangerous.
But any sport is dangerous. So mixed martial art, for me, I would say that in terms of safety-wise, it's much more safer. But you are right, absolutely, in terms of how the safety measures are our priority. Number one, as an organization, we have to follow a unified rules governance, and we definitely follow the International Mixed Martial Art Federation, since we have been collaborating officially, and Brave Combat Federation and UFC are the official partners of the International Mixed Martial Art Federation, which we have hosted the World Championship here thanks to the leadership of our country for 3 years in a row, and breaking records of some of the biggest world championships since 2017, 2018 and 2019, 3 years in a row. But we've built a strong relationship to understand regulation, to understand the rule set that we could adapt to make it the most safest in way of protecting the athletes. But at the same time, apart from following the rule set, we also have a very strong pre-competition, during competition and post-competition medical tests that goes on. No athlete that will be signed with Brave Combat Federation will be able to sign a contract and work with us until they have an extensive medical test being done. And continue to be done every time they go for a competition. It's not just for the contract. Every time they go for a competition, they have to provide this medical test. And during the event, at the facility, at the event itself, there'll be an in-house medical test that goes on as well. And then definitely a full-fledged medical protocol that'll be on presence during the event that we focus on and make sure that anything that happens, any unfortunate incidents, there is a team on set and a partnership with medical teams outside as well to work with. And the final thing when it comes to health and safety, apart from the medical side and the governance, is to most important to ensure that what your history of mixed martial art industry is. So if you look at Brave, we know that there is one thing that doesn't consider as a medical or health issue, and it is usually considered as a normal thing, is to cut weight. We see that in bodybuilding, we see that in multiple sports, especially in wrestling and boxing and MMA and wrestling a little bit more, of to lose weight so you can become a little bit more heavier in your competition. But we also take that very seriously, and Brave is one of the top organizations, and only organization maybe, that is under the unified rules but have multiple new weight classes. So we want to reduce the gap between a 71 kg and an 83 kg, which is the current weight classes as per the unified rules and the international governing body and what you see in UFC and every other organization. But we added another weight class in between. So we have a lightweight 71, 79 is super lightweight, and then we have the welterweights, the welterweight, and then so we have 71, 77, and 79. The reason we close that gap is because there's not everybody who can be at 71 or 84. I was one of those athletes who used to compete 60 kgs ago. I used to compete at 77 kg, but I always felt like I'm small for 77. I wanted to compete at 71, but I wouldn't be able to make that weight cut. It is too much. Maybe 1-2 kgs too many weight amount to lose. But where do I stand? So I would love to have had a 74 kg. So we have lightweight, super lightweight, similar to welterweight. We have super welterweight. So we have 71, 74. Sorry, this is the actual one. I'm just getting confused. 71, 74, 79, 84. So this allows you to compete in a weight class that is more comfortable, that you don't have to fight in a heavier weight class, which is also not very healthy, and it's dangerous to compete in a weight class that's not yours, nor in a weight class that you have to cut too much weight to try and make it. So there are the third point of what we discussed was that there are some elements that does not look like health and safety, but we do take care of that as well. We are very much focused on reforming the industry from a health perspective as well.
The final question in this interview, it's a personal question to you. You lived a lot of years here at Brave. You had a lot of memories, but there is one memory that's still inside your brain, unforgettable. Can you share it with us?
Well, when I think about Brave events, I mean, you're right, there's so much memories. Everything is different, right? Every new countries that you go is different. Every new achievement is a special memory. Yeah. But there's always going to be one memory that defines what Brave is, why the name Brave, who we are as a team, and how our company's culture is, how aggressive we work. Everything comes down to that one moment that I really remember was, I could be wrong, maybe it was 2018 or 2019, but it was one of the biggest events, Brave International Combat Week, and the world is coming to Bahrain. We broke the record of the number of countries that's going to be attending the event in Bahrain, and the participation amounts were broken. So everything was at the top level. It was a celebration of mixed martial art as a festival. And Brave Foundation and KHK Heroes combined together does a lot of side charity CSR activities to give back to the community in every country and every event that we go to. And that's a part of our role. So one of the things that we did was to showcase the benefit of mixed martial art and the training of mixed martial art. Everybody sees the fight and the entertainment, but the training is also beneficial for your confidence, for your health, and everything else. And we want to showcase that. So we made a really good campaign to train a group of special needs children from a very reputed foundation, and we collaborated and we started training them, and we saw fantastic results in them, mood-wise, behavior-wise, and even activity-wise, health-wise. And we were really excited with that, and we started training them how to box and how to do some wrestling takedowns and everything else. And there was one of the boys who was not satisfied with just training, and as he was getting better, he said that my dream is to be able to compete with that man that I'm always watching when I'm training. And we looked at it, and it was His Highness Sheikh Khalid, and I was like, okay, and what do you want to do about it? And he said that I want to compete. That's my dream, And then, of course, he said that, can I do a challenge with him? Can I call him out, like an MMA style of calling out? He said, can I call him out? And of course, when His Highness saw that video, it shocked every one of us. I mean, it was not surprising. We know His Highness Sheikh Khalid, but it was really something that was heartwarming, where he replied back and he said that he accepted the challenge. But what came out next was something that nobody expected, where His Highness wanted to give him the best moment of his life, and it was to compete in front of the whole world of 64 or plus countries that was attending and breaking records in the opening ceremony day, to be able to compete against His Highness. And you would see the excitement with him when he entered the cage. It was different. I saw his mom and her tears in her eyes, and that was something special, because she said that never seen him so happy to be able to achieve that dream. And that defined for us what we're doing in mixed martial art. We're not here to just make a great business deal. Sure, we'll be the first unicorn in sports startup in the region for sure, and this I promise you. But apart from that, what's the values that we stand by, what's the vision of His Highness Sheikh Khalid for the rest of the MMA industry worldwide. And that day defined it. And that day, all of our team who were there realized that we are not here just as a work or as a job. This is much more bigger than us. It is about the rest of the people, and that's what we're looking at. So it's a lot of emotions for me when I think about that moment, and it will never fade away.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
We reached the end. Final word, Mr. Muhammad.
I just hope that everybody that are watching Brave or don't know Brave as well, and now knowing Brave through your support and the media that we have always been supporting us, is to know that Brave is expanding as a business, where we see events around the world, we see gyms expanding. We're going to go into our merchandise in retail stores, although it's available on online sectors. We're going into a lot of different licensing programs. But for people who are associated with Brave or want to be associated with the Brave, with the organization or with the fighters, they all can have the whole MMA in one fingertip away, and that's Brave TV. And I hope that everybody can jump in and download Brave TV on Apple Store and Play Store. It is expanding very fast, and everybody who's looking for educational, who wants just to enjoy fights, live events, purchase things, be in loyalty program, and get involved with getting free prizes and everything else. It's all to do with MMA and combat sports in one location, and that's Brave TV. And if you haven't, I would tell all the viewers to go and download it right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.